Hi, good evening. Carlos from Esquina restaurant here. So I'm the executive chef of Esquina restaurant in Singapore. I'm originally from Barcelona in Spain, and I'm here in the Thermomix studio to share a couple of recipes with you. So we will be doing first Basque cheesecake. Okay, in the restaurant usually we do it with the crust, but it's a bit more difficult to do. So today we will do the version from La Viña, that is a Pinchos bar in San Sebastian. And this one is without crust. So we will just put it in a mold with a bit of baking paper. We will mix everything together in the Thermomix, and we will put it in the oven for about 20 minutes until it's ready. So it's a very easy recipe, everyone loves it. I'll really be glad if you guys try at home. And after that we will do the Chorizo croquetas. Okay, so croqueta is a very typical snack in Spain. It's one of my favorites also. And we will be doing the recipe we do in Esquina. So we do it with chorizo iberico, so it's a chorizo sausage made with iberico pork. It's really tasty and delicious. And we will also add a bit of manchego cheese and a little tip that will be adding a little bit of gelatin into the mixture. So both recipes are very easy, almost success guaranteed. So I really invite you to try and do it at home. Okay, so for the cheesecake, I already prepared the ingredients. So here we have the ingredients. Okay, later on after the tutorial you will have all the recipe for you guys. So don't worry about the amounts right now. Just get the idea out of it. So we have cream cheese, have a mascarpone, Italian soft cheese that have a really nice texture. We have a bit of Fourme d'Ambert, it's a blue cheese from France. We'll say it's similar to Roquefort, but much more mild. It's not so pungent, so it's perfect for a cheesecake because it gives us this blue cheese flavor, but it's not the main thing on the cheesecake. And the fourth cheese we will put today is a bit of Gorgonzola Dolce, that is Italian blue cheese as well. Okay, then we have a bit of cream, like your normal whipping cream, 35% fat, a bit of sugar, a little bit of salt. You can use sea salt, you can use fine salt, whatever you prefer. It's not gonna make a difference. And also 4 eggs, okay, important. Good free-range eggs, medium size. So that's all we need for the cheesecake. Okay, so let's start. You will see it's a really easy recipe. So basically we just need to put all the ingredients in our Thermomix in any order, doesn't really matter. So here we go with the eggs. I will put next the cream cheese. The sugar, fine sugar. The mascarpone. But again, the order doesn't really matter, so don't worry. Just go ahead in any way. The Fourme d'Ambert. The Gorgonzola Dolce. The salt, important. So this is a dessert that is not sweet, not savory. I will say is in between. So it is great for people who don't really like very sweet desserts. They will love this cheesecake. And we finish with the cream. Okay, whipping cream, 35% fat, your usual whipping cream. No need to be any special one. There we go. And we close the Thermomix. Important at the beginning, because some of the ingredients are cold, we don't want to emulsify the ingredients. So we will give it short speed first, slow speed. So not so fast first, because if we blend it very fast, we will emulsify the mix. And we don't want that, we want a liquid mix. So the first 2 minutes, I will just mix at number 3. And after that, I will give him 1 minute at full speed to make sure it's all blend really fine. Okay? So first 3 minutes at number 3, just for the mixing and getting a bit of losing the cold temperature, and after that 1 minute at full speed. If your ingredients are at room temp, you can just go ahead, put it together, and give it 1 minute at full speed. But since usually you will keep these cheeses on the fridge, I will recommend always to give it 2-3 minutes at slow speed. Okay, so now it's been mixing for about 3 minutes. So you can touch the bowl because it's metal, so you can feel the temperature. So now it's almost room temperature. So now is the time we will put at full speed and make sure that all the cheeses are blended very, very fine. Okay? So just increase the speed. Okay, so now it's been blending at full speed for 1 minute. So the mixture now is, I will say, room temp, maybe a little bit more cold than room temp, but not so cold. We want it about room temperature. And now it's important to taste, okay? Because depends on sometimes the cheese is a bit more salty, a bit more sweet. So always give it a little tasting so you can adjust saltiness or sweetness if you need. Also, you need to see a very smooth mix. So it's a really smooth mix, okay? We don't want to see any pieces of cheese or anything. That's why Thermomix is so great for this cheesecake. Like if you try to do it with a juice blender or a hand blender, you will not get this, the cheeses fine enough. Then you will not have a smooth top of the cheesecake. So at the restaurant, we always do it with Thermomix for this reason, so we get a really smooth mix. Okay, so now we're gonna taste it. Okay. Tastes great. The only thing you need to look is if it's a nice balance between sweetness and savory, right? For example, if you feel, I would like a little bit more blue cheese flavor, then we just add a little bit more. So now it's time, so it tastes great, it's smooth, so now we can go ahead and start baking it. So we have this mold, okay? We just put some baking paper around. Make sure it goes all the way to the corners. Then whatever is going out, more than that, just trim it with a scissor so it doesn't move around in the oven, especially if you have a fan in the oven. The paper is in one piece. So we don't want holes so the cheese mixture doesn't fall around anywhere. So just a big piece of baking paper. We just fit it well in the bottom and we will fill the cheesecake with it. Okay. So this cheesecake doesn't grow much. I will say grow like 10-15%. So you can fill the mold pretty much. It's no issue on putting it too much. Okay, and also I wanted to tell you also that if you cannot find one of the cheeses, it's totally no issue. You can replace, for example, if you cannot find the Gorgonzola, or you can replace the weight of the Gorgonzola with cream cheese. Okay, so if one of the cheeses in the recipe you cannot really find it, just replace the same weight with cream cheese. Then the taste will be a little bit different, but you still will have a great cheesecake. Okay, so now it's in the mold. So now we will bake it at 220 degrees and the timing will depend on the size of the mold. So, but we always take it out when the center is still moving. So it has to be a little bit shaky. So later we will have in the center a very creamy cheesecake, like almost oozy, right? So for this size is about 11-12 inch. So for this size, we will bake it for 20 minutes, okay, at 220 degrees. Okay, so the cheesecake has been in the oven around 20 minutes. So now we have to take it out of the oven. Okay, and how to know when is the sweet spot to take it out? So we put it in the table. And you see we want to see this jiggling, okay? So we want to see the outside part to be set and the center part to be a bit jiggling, okay? So you can see here the outside part is quite set and the center is jiggling. Also, you want to see this beautiful burnt color, and that is when we know that the cheesecake is ready. Now we have to leave it 1.5 hours to set, and then after that we can already slice it. For me, this cheesecake, I prefer to eat it from the day, so I will not like to put it in the fridge. I will just leave it outside for a couple of hours and eat it on the same day. If you put it in the fridge, it's still good, and but then you will lose a bit of the creaminess. Okay, so it's always more creamy when you eat it from the same day that you bake it. So, but you can keep it outside the fridge for hours, so it's not an issue. Okay, so now we will leave it 1 hour plus to rest. We will garnish with some raspberries, and then we will eat it straight away. So this is also is a very easy recipe to do. Everyone love it, and the good thing is it's not so sweet. So people who is not a big dessert eater, they will love it. And at the same time, because it's not so sweet, doesn't get you so full. So you can eat plenty of it, and you will not feel like so heavy afterwards. And also during this also is very special for our restaurant, because during the first circuit breaker in Singapore, we had to switch to delivery, and we have never done delivery before. And this cheesecake was a success. We were doing dozens and dozens of it every day, and help keep everyone in the restaurant employed and ready for the reopening. So really special recipe for us at Esquina, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so next recipe we will do croquetas. Okay, croqueta is one of the most typical tapas you will find in Spain, and is a staple. So it means any good restaurant should be able to do a good croqueta. So for us it's very important to always nail this croqueta. So it's one of our signatures, and we're doing for both for delivery and at the restaurant. So it's one of our signatures and staples. So for this recipe, it's also quite easy to do. We have basically we have chorizo iberico. Okay, this Spanish sausage is made with pork, smoked Spanish paprika, and a bit of pork fat as well. So you can find it in two ways. You can find it more like a sausage, this more less cured, and like this one that is cured. So it's usually this is sliced and served as a charcuterie. Okay, so this is a chorizo iberico that is used for charcuterie. Okay, so when looking for that, look for the one is for charcuterie, the dry one. If you cannot find, you can do it with Iberico ham. Is also really good. You can use the exact same recipe, just replace the chorizo with Iberico ham, or any other sausage also that has intense flavor will be really good. Okay, so for all our friends that cannot eat pork also, another option is to replace the chorizo with porcini mushrooms or ceb mushrooms. It's the same type that has a lot of flavor, so we need intense flavor mushrooms. And the rest of the recipe we can go as the same as we go. Next we have manchego cheese. Okay, so manchego cheese is one of my favorite cheeses. It's very traditional from the region of La Mancha in Spain. But again, if you cannot find it, any semi-dry cheese like a young Parmesan will do. We have a bit of butter. You can see it's red. It's because I like to mix this butter with a bit of chorizo oil. So this is optional, but it will give you a bit more flavor. So basically it's a chorizo that I stir fry, then I let it sit in the pan, then I save the little pool of oil that is left. Okay, so this will give us a bit of extra chorizo flavor, but this is you can skip the chorizo, just use the butter. A bit of plain flour as well, milk, and salt. The last ingredient we will put in the croqueta is optional, but will make your job easier, is gelatin. So we have gelatin sheets. So we're doing a very creamy, smooth croqueta. We want almost like to be liquid inside. So we will do this by reducing the amount of flour. but then we will have a problem. We will have a problem that will be very sticky in our hands, will be very soft, will be very difficult to roll the croqueta. So to fix this problem, we will add gelatin. So as you know, gelatin when it's cold, is set, and when it's warm, it melts. So in this case, it's perfect because when we will roll the croquetas, the dough will be cold, so the gelatin will help to keep the structure more hard. But then when we deep fry it later, the gelatin will melt and will become liquid and creamy. So it is a really good help for this recipe, the gelatin. So first of all, I'll put over here. So first of all, we will put the butter. Okay, the butter with the chorizo oil. Again, if you want to skip the chorizo oil part, just put the butter. This is just to increase the flavor. So I'm giving you the exact recipe we do at the restaurant. So at the restaurant, we do it exactly the way I'm showing you. So we put the butter and the chorizo oil, and we will put the chorizo as well. Okay. So again, if you don't eat pork, do the same, but with chopped mushrooms. Okay. And now we will put the butterfly, and we will put slow speed, and we will give a little bit of heat as well. So now what I want to do is, as you know, the chorizo has some fat on it. I also put the butter. So now I want to melt the butter, and I want to melt all the fats that are inside the chorizo. So the chorizo is lean meat and fatty meat. So I want all this fat to melt together and kind of infuse. But these fats are very delicate, so it burns quite easily. Okay, so now I'm gonna just warm it up all together for 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes, until all the fats in the chorizo are melted. And after that, we will continue with the recipe. Okay, so now it's been for about 3-4 minutes at 50 degrees. So we get all these fats inside the chorizo to melt. Okay, you can see here. Okay, so we want all these fats to be melted. So the next step, we need to remove the butterfly first. Okay, then now we will add the flour. Okay, so we add the flour inside, and we're gonna cover again. And now we need to cook this flour, okay? At low speed, okay? We don't want to blend, we just want to mix. Okay, so we need to make sure that all this flour is cooked. So we know later we will have raw flour taste that is not very pleasant. Okay, so the mixture of chorizo with the butter and flour is being cooking together at speed number 1 during 10 minutes at 90 degrees. Okay, so let's check it out. Okay, so looks great. All the fats in the chorizo has melted, and now it's important to taste the dough. We need to taste it, and we need to feel if it's any raw flour taste. Okay, so the flour is already cooked with this 10 minutes at 90 degrees. So it's perfect to go with the next step. Okay, so we just put the milk in there together with the chorizo, the butter, and the flour. Okay, and now we will cook it at speed number 3 for 10 minutes. Okay, and the temperature we will put 90 degrees. Okay, so this way we will cook the butter and the flour together with the milk, and we'll thicken our mixture. And on the meantime, we can put the gelatin in ice water. Okay, so always when using gelatin, you need to put it in ice water, one by one, okay, so they don't stick together. And the gelatin need to bloom, okay? So will become softer. It takes about 3-4 minutes. So we will put it here for now. We will leave the milk cooking with the rest of the chorizo croqueta, and after 10 minutes we will put the gelatin and the cheese. Then the base will be ready. So now is when we will add the gelatin and the manchego cheese and the salt. Okay, so the gelatin always, when you're using it, especially for pastry or something that the recipes need to be quite exact, always squeeze it so you don't add water to the recipe you're doing, right? So just hold the gelatin in your hand and squeeze the water as much as you can. Okay, so you put the gelatin inside. We also put the manchego cheese. Okay, and we will finish with the salt. Okay, we add the salt as well. And now we will increase a bit the speed. Okay, we will put number 4 instead. We will put 2 minutes. And temperature, we keep it same as before at 90 degrees, okay? So 90 degrees, speed number 4, and for 2 more minutes. So this way we will melt the gelatin and the manchego and we'll go all together in the mixture. Remember that the gelatin later will help us when the dough is cold to roll the croquetas, okay? So we leave it 2 minutes. Okay, so it's been already 2 minutes at the speed 4. So now our croqueta dough is ready. Now we just need to open. Okay, and we need to put the dough to cool down in the fridge, okay? So this is the best for me. I always like to leave it overnight cooling down, so also the flavors will get well together, okay? So if you can, do it the day before you need it, and then later, the next day you can finish it, okay? So you can see the consistency is quite thick, okay? This is a sign that the flour has been cooked together with the milk, okay? So that's a good consistency, okay? So we put it in the fridge. Okay, so now we have our dough already cold. Okay, you can see the texture is quite consistent. This is thanks to the gelatin, if not it will be much more softer. So the croquetas, the size is really up to you. For me, I like to do it around 50 grams. Okay, so we use the scale mode in the Thermomix and we try to do pieces of 50 grams, okay? So this dough, if you want, you can keep it in the fridge for 2 or 3 days. Or another option is to freeze it. This freezes very well. You can defrost it. And if you defrost it overnight, the next day will be all right. We put a bit, so we have here egg. It's just egg with a little bit of salt that we mix. Flour and panko, okay? Panko breadcrumbs, this is Japanese breadcrumbs that are a bit more crispy. But if not, you can use, in Spain, the traditional way to do croquetas is with dry bread. We just blend it and we do like our own bread powder. But I like the panko because it gives you a bit more crunchiness. Okay, so we put a little bit of flour in our hands. Okay, then we shape the croqueta. Okay, so first do a little ball. Okay, and right after this, just shape it like a croqueta. Okay, so croquetas always like this. So it's a bit like a nigiri. So you just roll it in the palm of your hand. Okay, make sure that the sides are not very sharp, so like rounded. Okay, so that will be the perfect size. Okay, I'll do another one. Okay, so first we do a ball. After that, we press and we round it until we get the shape of the croqueta. Okay, so you see, even though I put the gelatin, it's getting a little bit sticky in my hand. So I will just put a bit of flour. But it's for you to imagine how soft will be this croqueta in case we didn't put the gelatin. So it's important, the gelatin. Okay. Another option, if you don't have gelatin, is to increase the flour, but then you will have a much harder croqueta. So it will not be so pleasant in the mouth. No, like chefs, we say whatever is delicate in your hands is delicate in your mouth. Okay, so the harder is something to shape, to cut, whatever. Later you will have that softness will go into your food, no? Okay, so the first thing we will put is flour. So we will put in this order: flour, egg, and panko. Okay, so we put the croquetas inside the flour. Okay, so just make sure everywhere got flour. It's important that there's no holes, because if not, later when we fry it, the oil will go in there and then we can have a broken croqueta, okay? So just coat it very well with the flour all around, no spaces. Then we put it on the egg, okay? This process, some people like to do it twice, so it's a bit more safe later when you fry it, but also you will have a much thicker layer of coating, and it's not that nice, you know. So it's more fried proof, but it will have a much thicker layer that is not as nice as if it's only one layer. So again, same with the flour, with the egg. We make sure it's no holes, okay? So all the croqueta is coated with egg, okay? And we take it out from the egg and we put it on the panko. You can do a few at a time, it's fine, okay? We put in the panko, and again, no holes. The holes later will burst our croqueta, okay? But if you're doing a lot, put it in the fridge again before you fry the croqueta, because if not, it will be too soft. Okay, so now we're gonna proceed to fry the croquetas. Okay, so now we will prepare the oil to fry the croquetas. So we can use any cooking oil. I particularly like sunflower oil, okay, and then also I like to mix it with a bit of olive oil. So I will say 90% sunflower oil and 10% olive oil. Okay? So the oil has to be quite hot, okay, and that will be enough. Just make sure the oil is enough to cover the whole croqueta, around 180 degrees, so quite hot, but we don't want it also super hot, because if not, we will get the crust ready so fast that the inside will not be warm. So we want to fry it for a good 2-3 minutes, okay? Not super fast frying. If not, we will not give time to the croqueta to warm up inside, okay? So we put it to heat up. We watch the heat, not so hot, and then we will start frying the croquetas. Okay, so we have our croquetas. The oil is already hot, but again, not as smoking hot. Then we will go ahead and fry it. Okay. So we want to fry it for like 2 or 3 minutes, so we make sure the inside of the croqueta is warm, okay? So very carefully rotate the croqueta in the oil, so we get all the sides even. If you have a fryer at home, a small deep fryer is even easier. You just put in the basket and they will get perfect. Okay, so now they get nice color. So we put it on the kitchen towel so it dries up the oil. So remember, the lesser oil the croqueta has, the more crispy will be. So important to dry as much oil as possible, okay? There we go. Put it on the paper. And now in the paper itself, you can just do this movement so the croqueta, it dries all the surface. Okay. There you go. And then the croquetas, you can serve it like this on its own, or you can put, in Spain we always like to put a little bit of mayonnaise, or you can put plain mayonnaise or your own mayonnaise. For me at the restaurant, I like to put piquillo pepper mayonnaise. So piquillo pepper is a small roasted sweet peppers, and then I just blend it together with mayonnaise, and we do this beautiful mayo. Okay, you can hear it's very crispy. And we will finish with the mayo, okay? This is optional, but it gives a nice touch. Okay, so I will put on top a little bit of this mayo. And the croquetas are ready. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so now I'm portioning the cheesecake. Okay, so as you can see, I removed the mold. Okay, I put some raspberries. I think gives a very nice contrast of sour, and also give a beautiful color of the cheesecake. And as you can see, now the cheesecake, we already have it cooked. So in the outside part is really it's cooked, and inside is really creamy, like almost half cooked. So this is the texture we want, right? So that's the texture we want. Okay, so we want like a really creamy center, and the outside is cooked, but it's still like really soft. And the burnt part on top that will give a very nice flavor on it. So hope you enjoy the cheesecake. Okay, thank you everyone for watching these video recipes. I hope you enjoy watching it, but most important is that you guys try at home. Give it a chance. It's really easy to do, especially with this Thermomix. So give it a try and you will succeed with your friends. At the end, for us chefs, Thermomix is one of our best assets. We use it in our restaurants daily and many times because it gives us an amazing blending power. Like especially when we do purees, when we do ice creams, it gives us a lot of finesse, like on the blending. And on top of that, we can do pasteurizing, croquetas, like all this kind of stuff that needs to be stirred all the time. We put it in Thermomix and we forget about it, So that's why pretty much in every restaurant we always have 2 or 3 of those. And so I hope to see you in our next video for more recipes. So remember to like and share the video with your friends if you like it. See you guys soon at Esquina. Thanks for watching. Cheers.